Moi everyone and welcome to Finish Your Plate. Tilliliha is a dish that divides Finns. Most either love it or hate it. But at the same time, most probably haven't touched it since, well, grade school and school cafeterias. But I'm going to show you how to make this classic dish. It has a lot of interesting flavors going around that you might not necessarily associate with Finnish foods. It's a little bit sour, a little bit sweet, and a little bit savory too at the same time, of course, with plenty of dill. So join me and I'll show you how to make this classic dish. To make the tilliliha, I have here some short rib. You could also use boneless meat, but because we're going to make the broth from the meat, it makes sense to use bone-in meat, which is going to give the broth a really nice flavor. So first, I'm just going to put all this meat in my pot over here. We are not going to brown this at all. We are just going to put the pieces of meat in the pot. And then just cover it with some water. We're going to let this come to a boil and then skim off any scum that may appear on top of the water. While I'm waiting for my water to come to a boil, I'm just going to prep my vegetables. I have here 1 onion, I'm going to use 1 carrot, and then just 1 stalk of celery, and of course some dill. These do not need to be chopped fine. They could be left in very large pieces at this point. Basically just quartered. Now that scum is starting to form on top, we're just gonna collect it and dispose of it. Now the meat's been boiling for a couple of minutes, I'm gonna add my soup vegetables. Just carrots, celery, leaves and all, onions quartered, few white peppercorns whole, couple bay leaves, some salt, and of course, a big bunch of dill. Everything goes in the pot. Just make sure everything is covered. Maybe add a little bit more water if you need to. Now we're going to cover this, turn it to simmer. And we're going to let this simmer until the meat is tender, which is going to take about 1.5 hours to 2 hours. Just watch out because you can still overcook the meat even though it's in the water. I think in about 1.5 hours, 2 hours, it's going to be perfectly tender and done. Now about 1.5 hours has passed, so let's take a look at the meat. Let's grab a piece and let's just try it. Oh yeah, this is done. So we're going to kill the heat. And we're going to strain the broth. From here, we're going to pick out the pieces of meat. And we're going to separate the bones from the meat. And now we'll just chop up the meat into about bite-sized pieces. Now we'll just return the meat back in a pot. Together with the broth that we made. Now we'll turn the heat back on and we're going to season this sauce. We're going to add a teaspoon and a half of sugar. We'll squeeze half a lemon in here. You could also use vinegar. We'll add some salt. I'm going to squeeze in the other half of the lemon as well. The amount of lemon juice, of course, depends on your preference and what kind of lemons you might have. Now we'll thicken this with some all-purpose flour, 3 tablespoons. And we will add some cold water so it doesn't lump up. And we'll add the flour slurry in our sauce. You could also use cornstarch. Just remember, flour is not quite as strong as a thickener as cornstarch is. Also, cornstarch will be thickest just when it comes to a boil. So do not boil the sauce any longer if you're using cornstarch. And we'll just add just a splash of cream to round off the flavors. Now that our sauce has come back to boil, we'll just kill the heat and it's visibly thickened. And we will finish this off with some more dill. Now to serve Tilliliha, all you do is just take a couple of potatoes, boiled potatoes. And serve the sauce with the potatoes. You could also serve this with mashed potatoes. And of course, serve it with a green salad. And here we go, Finnish school classic, Tilliliha. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time on Finish Your Plate.